Hey, welcome back, everyone. It's the long-awaited, I think it's been over a year since we did the last one, even though we promised, but life happens.
And you fell
right?
for it.
Yeah, you idiots that never supported us on Patreon. No, for real though, welcome to the Jean Pod Van Dammecast. It's always nice to get back and to see some fellow faces.
Woo.
It's crazy doing these type of things now through video, not just audio. But yes, we have Jeff
for
and
most
John.
of us.
Yes. It's so crazy how your ventriloquist skills, Jeff, have been like you're able to speak and I don't even see your mouth moving.
I only communicate as a disembodied voice, so
I completely
you have to respect
understand.
that.
We don't like to talk about that, but during the pandemic, we got into a little bit of witchcraft. We're still trying to find Jeff's body back. It's like a weird anime. And this is the American film style, so everyone hates it.
Of course.
Yeah, so we're back and we have a very special guest with us. It's basically our unofficial official third member, Dave from Long Walk Short Drink.
Woo!
Welcome back. Thank you once again for coming and talking with us about what we're going to talk about today. If it's not obvious, if you haven't read the title, The Last Mercenary, Netflix and JCVD, that partnership, it's got us pumped and excited, and we got to see the first project come out about it. So how's everyone doing?
I'm doing good. Same old, I guess.
Yeah, right. Crazy schedules and crazy work and
still
crazy
working.
life.
I'm happy about that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Dave, how about yourself?
Good. I can't complain. And I just got a full day here to podcast and edit podcasts, and I guess talk Jean-Claude Van Damme. I can't think of anything better.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
That's right. So just like with any of these sort of episodes, we got to get into the news side of things first. And I think the biggest thing that has come from the news lately, obviously, is Last Mercenary and just some of the great news worldwide of the records with it basically being in the top 10 or at number 1, definitely in France. That's not a surprise there, but he's also been number 1 in the world supposedly from his Facebook page, which is great. Now I haven't seen it. I've only been on Netflix a couple of times to see if it hits the top 10 here. I've never seen it in the top 10, but I have seen it in the trending. So I'm sure it hit top 10 somewhere here within when it first started coming out. But I just think Americans are fools. That's just it. So,
they don't appreciate a good thing.
No, I think that was one of the things too, that when I saw immediately CNN, whoever over there did a review on The Last Mercenary, and like a fool myself, I read it and I was just like, oh, these uncultured swine, why am I reading a review from them? They don't know the talent that is JCVD.
They really don't.
They're basically like, it's a funny comedy action film where it fails to be comedic. And I was like, ugh.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. I thought that I think it was one of those that you're just like, man, if you're reviewing these types of movies, you're the wrong person to be reviewing it. I really don't ever look to CNN for my movie reviews, but because this was JCVD related, I had to read it. But yeah, I thought that was a little ridiculous. It is one thing. I know that the movie has been divided on some of the social media movie platforms, right? Like I think IMDb had it at a 5.3, which is kind of typical.
Rotten Tomatoes is low, of course.
Yeah. These are self-righteous critics, film critics. Can't enjoy anything
public.
Nice. Yeah. Ugh. That's what I always say. You can't trust any of these online nerds. So
did you guys ever hear about the actor director Vincent Gallo going around and beating up critics who reviewed his movies poorly?
What?
This is sort of folklore, though I like to think it's true. And so he made this movie in like 1998, I think. It was kind of an indie darling, but maybe not all critics liked it. It's called Buffalo 66. I actually have it over my shoulder here.
Nice.
People watching well, I guess it's all video now. I forgot. It's all video, all YouTube for the JPVD JPVD.
Don't worry, it takes us a second too.
Yep.
Buffalo 66 came out, and Christina Ricci is in it. It's a pretty interesting movie. I liked it very much, and he's a very odd character, Vincent Gallo, just sort of guy, and he wrote and directed it. It's a very sort of stylish indie film, and then he made this his follow-up movie came out in like, I don't know, in the mid 2000s or something, called Brown Bunny, and that is a lot less. You probably heard about that. It's got a famous like actual
yes.
Whoa.
So it may have been that movie that this happened, or maybe both. But the lore is that he went around to the journalist's house who reviewed them poorly and literally like punched them out or something, like one by one.
Oh, that's awesome.
If you've ever seen the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, there's a scene at the end where they do that, and I guess it was inspired by. So it would have been Buffalo 66. So I don't have to imagine like Van Damme doing that, just
that's
going around backspin kicking all these guys.
Did you say my movie was shit?
Controlled kick.
Yeah, I know Uwe Boll actually had done that
I heard about that.
celebrity boxing matches with his critics. He actually like literally trained, and then he beat the shit out of these people that were not trained at all, and it was like he called it like a charity event. He just beat the shit out of them too, you know. It was just amazing. I'm like, holy crap.
Good for him.
He's
kind of a bigger guy, isn't he?
He is too. So like, it definitely, I thought that was definitely hilarious that someone's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do a charity boxing event and get my ass kicked. Yep. Yeah. So I feel for them, and I know that you made the controlled kick joke, so let's just get into it. It's been years, but Van Damme finally responded to Liam Hemsworth and his that, what was it, the Ed Norton show or whatever
Graham Norton.
Graham Norton, thank you. I'm
England.
getting people all mixed up. He had that infamous video clip that we laughed about with The Rock there and Jeff Goldblum, in which he told the story from Expendables 2, Van Damme giving him a controlled kick. And we all know Van Damme really kind of likes to spar with his bodyguards and whatnot, and the stunt doubles, and has been notorious in the film scene of giving people a lot of controlled kicks that hurt. So he finally responded back to it, and I thought that was very interesting. And hearing it's kind of funny because I don't know, Dave, did you want to cue that up? Or
I've got the clip from Men's Health. I think it takes place towards the beginning, so hopefully it happens here right away. And it's a pretty swift reaction, and then they move on to something else. But it's priceless. What he says.
Yes.
Shall I roll that?
Yes, please. If you don't mind, that'd be great.
All right.
Jean-Claude Van Damme recreate his kickboxing dance. Lucky I wasn't there on the set. I'm JCVD, Jean-Claude Van Damme. The internet is a place where everybody can meet and exchange opinions.
Yes.
So today, I'm going to answer some of the questions.
I think it's the first one here.
Liam Hemsworth got chest kicked by Jean-Claude Van Damme.
And on this one particular take, he gave me a full Van Damme kick to the chest.
Bullshit. I control everything perfect. For example, if this is close, you don't push like this, you just open a little like that, and you go, and the guy received the punch, go with it, and it looks so real. So anyway, I did the same with Liam, I just do like a tap, because if I did, his ribs would be broken.
That's what you want. I mean, that's what I want. I love that so much.
Yes.
Bullshit. Good.
Oh man. Yeah. I absolutely love that. Yeah, his reaction to that.
He can't control those kicks. You heard him. They're too powerful.
Yep. He would have died. He would have died if he got the full Van Damme kick. No, I thought that was funny. And then like all the fans were definitely like, I knew it. I knew he was lying. You know, I'm pretty sure there's something in the middle there, right? Like you got to
Hemsworth is
tell,
canceled.
he's telling his story. He's got to tell his side. And I'm sure anyone that got tapped by Van Damme, especially an actor, you'd be like, what the hell? You know, I didn't get into acting to get really hit, man. But
these are the ones that haven't sued him either.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I thought that was great. But you know, he mentioned also getting on the internet and whatnot. And what I've been noticing is that he's interacting more and more on Facebook. He's leaving comments on things, and for whatever reason, Facebook feels the need to tell me this. So like even stuff I don't follow, it's like JCVD commented, and I think this is becoming a thing because I get this with Lou Ferrigno as well. Like
Awesome.
apparently, I'm sure like agents or something are telling their acting clients, especially maybe you're getting older, like, hey, to stay in the spotlight, start commenting on things. And I mean, Van Damme doesn't even comment anything too crazy, and his comment gets like thousands of likes, obviously. So it's funny, it'll be like Jean-Claude Van Damme commented on Animal Planet's post, and you know, it's basically just a heart, you know, and JCVD and 5,000 likes. And then, you know, the replies were like, I love you, JCVD. The same thing, you know, like it can't be anything related to the post. It's always like, I loved you in Kickboxer. I loved you in Bloodsport. Like this dude just can't constantly, you know, be like, hey, I want to interact and talk about animals. You know, it's got to be always that stuff. But I think it's absolutely hilarious that Facebook has to tell me that Van Damme has commented on something that's not even related. He'll sometimes even comment on things where, oh, I didn't know this until recently, but Sylvester Stallone is King Shark in the new Suicide Squad movie. Van Damme commented like, love heart Sly, and that's all he said. I
saw that.
And like it was like 12,000 likes. It was just amazing. Just so funny to see that stuff. And I think that's one of the things. And also he also brought up, which is kind of nice. It's nice that he's doing this sort of thing, because I do think as fans you feel like, oh hey, he's just like us, you know. But there was also the bird doing the splits, and someone was like, hey, it's the JCVD bird, you know, and he actually jumped on social media and reposted it and said it was his pet, I think.
It was confirmed.
So he had mentioned it. The man himself definitely was talking about all of that. One last thing that I wanted to bring up while I'm thinking about it is here I thought, hey, we'll just stay alive on YouTube and that'll be it. Didn't think anything more of it, but I had recently, like a month or two ago, had gotten a tweet from someone, a new listener, who was like, hey, I've been trying to find the series. I don't know where it's at. You know, he's like, it said that it was up on iTunes still, but you have no audio underneath it. I was like, oh man, I'm really sorry. I'm like, we are on YouTube. If you would like, I said, I'm very happy to send you the full catalog of audio. And so that's what I did. He asked me and I sent it over. I haven't heard anything back. So who knows if he stayed or not. Yeah. Oh, these guys are terrible. What the hell? But yeah, no, I thought that was interesting. And once again, thanks to those who still randomly find us as well, because I know the last time that we spoke, we kind of have dropped off the JCVD fandom map. One of the funniest things for me was I don't ever really look at reviews or ratings on these things, and I saw on iTunes that we were very divisive amongst people. It was hilarious. Yeah, so definitely on the split scale of politics, right? I guess JCVD's left leg, some people liked us. JCVD's right leg, some people hated us. So I thought that was absolutely hilarious, that I was like, you know, the one show that has created controversy, that has gotten us crazy stats and whatnot, it makes sense that we aren't everyone's cup of tea. You know, we've tried for years to get out there, and it just so happens that this is the one that actually does something. And
which episode was it?
Oh, it was the whole series.
Oh, really?
So yeah, like you could
Wow.
review and rate the series, and we had a bunch of like 5 stars, maybe a couple 1 stars and a couple 3 stars. But I thought that was funny. I was like, wow, you guys actually took the time to rate it like 3 stars. Like, number one, thanks for rating. But number two, I think it's hilarious that you were like, you know what, I got to rate this 3 stars. Like,
because
I
it's
just
okay.
have to, yes, it's just okay.
And the world needs to know.
It's these 2 guys that just sit there and they, coddle Van Damme balls and, what do you expect from a Jean-Claude Van Damme podcast? This is an NPR serial, I don't get into the, and then November 2nd, 1986, Van Damme sat at the studio to record and edit Bloodsports. It's just we have fun with it, right? So
I would be interested in that version of the show.
that's our Patreon version. I'm just gonna like go all into it. I the updates too with the book. So for those that might not know, I can't remember the last time we talked about it. I had been asked to work on a Steven Seagal movie review book, a filmography book, a Chuck Norris filmography, and then Van Damme. That was the last. It's a trio. It's coming out. It starts going into the next phase, I think, at the end of this year. And I just so happened to be asked to do the intro essay for the Van Damme book, which is an absolute honor. I hope he doesn't sue us.
Hell yeah.
And I did quite a few reviews for it. So I'm at the last stages. I've just finished my review for the Eagle Path Full Love Soldiers Frenchie, and talking about the movie that never was, the Development Hell movie, where everything's finished, yet he can't find a proper distributor. And so I was very excited about that. Very excited to see how that's going to go. And I'm sure I'll be promoting that when it all full out happens. But that was an absolute fun thing to work on. I know, Dave, actually, you got to be a part of the Bloodspurt. That's the name of the Van Damme project.
Yeah.
And you got to do a review on the Quest, right?
Yeah. Thankfully, you kind of hit me to this, and it's pretty much like a Facebook group propelled venture, and I don't really have a personal Facebook account, so I had like trouble. Anyway, so I emailed the guy. I was like, I'm a big fan. I've got a binder. I don't know what I said about my credentials, but so they're like, here's the list, and a lot of the your blood sports and kickboxers and stuff that have been picked over, but the Quest was among those not yet claimed, and that was still in the heyday of my fandom. And so I signed up for it, and I took it very seriously, and I did get the binder out. I got the binder's always nearby.
Yes, the binder makes another blessing.
I got it.
Yes, there it is.
All hail our beloved JCVD.
I've got my folder there, like the Quest review. There it is. So I don't know how many
nice
words it ended up being, but I was trying to like source a lot of the stuff from the binder, from all the the Inside Karate magazines and stuff that I had, that I don't know, thought maybe that it'd just be a bit more interesting, certainly more fun for me, and possibly information that wasn't necessarily more readily available digitally. So I ended up writing so much about hearing about what that movie would be over the years. Like, he talked about it early on, and it was initially called Enter the New Dragon and stuff like that. But anyway, so I did kind of write this like history of it in a way, and tried to interweave that with an actual sort of review of the movie. And anyway, it got really large, and then I talked about Eagle Path as well. I quoted some stuff from the reality show, where which you may have in your review of that, where he's like walking along and he's like, I made a movie about trying to save the world called Eagle Path. And then he goes, I think I failed. And he starts to cry. And he kneels down.
Yes. He's like at the church.
Yes.
Yes.
That was powerful.
Yeah.
It was.
And he's talking about like how he was too vain in his portrayal of himself in that movie. And And if I had one thing to say about the Quest, I think it's definitely suffers from that. So anyways, I'm like pulling all this in, and I had my wife, who's a published academic, and like had her edit it. She's an excellent writer, and she's editing my Van Damme like essay.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
I
it
bet
still was too long.
Oh, dude, I think it's fine. The guy probably, when they're going through and reviewing these, are like gonna see, just everyone's average thing. They're like, holy shit, this guy did that. He should have wrote the whole book.
No, my God, I'd still be working on it. I sent it in and I was like, this is too long. Feel free to cut whatever you want, because it was twice the length it was supposed to be. And the guy was really nice. David Hayes, I think.
Yeah, David Hayes, yes.
Yeah, and he's like, this is it's a special, special article because it's his only, directorial debut to see the light of day. And so he's like, I think I'll just roll with it as is. And so, yeah, I don't think I'll ever be prouder than when I can hold that book.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that I look forward to, right? Like, because of podcasting, I know I always say it, like, all these other opportunities have come in that wouldn't have been there. And, even us getting to meet each other, like, if it wasn't for podcasting, two Michigan boys just sitting there, talking about how much they love Van Damme and action movies and general. But yeah, definitely. I'm still waiting on Tony to finish I gotta ask him again. He might have forgot about it. But Tony from Kapowcast was going to be working on our Every Damn Wrestling logo and our Rage in a Cage logo.
Really?
And yeah. So I still have those episodes ready to just be pushed out. So I just got to ask Tony, hey, can you do that?
I'm sure he doesn't have other things on his mind.
Right? I know, poor Tony's got his work, and then he's doing podcasts. He's in the same boat as I was with Pod Bros. So I definitely, that's why I haven't asked him, because I was like, I know things have been crazy, and I'm
Don't worry, I'll ask him. I'll know.
Yeah. You just go, hey, Tony.
Hey, what the fuck's going on, man? I thought we were friends.
Yeah, so I know it's been 3-4 years since we initially launched it, and it's our own development hell. It's our own eagle path. Yeah, we made these podcasts that we thought would save the world. I think I failed. Yeah, so. Yes, they'll be coming out once in a while. I don't even know. I'm looking forward to us starting up again one day to just actually do these all. So anyway, I think it's about time. Let's actually get into the movie portion of things, the things that everyone's come here to talk about. And I think the last time we spoke, we had mentioned that Netflix had done this partnership deal with JPVD, and we were very excited to hear about it. And we finally started getting all this. He's been doing the publicity for things, and definitely, I do think worldwide it's just been a hit. It's been kind of fun. And I knew going into it that this was going to be what it is. And I think that's kind of just been the way that action really has kind of been lately, is more action comedy, besides, like some of the Rock films. But even then, those are action comedy. Like Fast and Furious is one of the only franchises, but it gets laughed at, even though it's not supposed to be comedy, nowadays. And I think it's great to do what it is with it. This keeps action films keep getting produced. People keep enjoying them. And, it puts actors that we truly enjoy back in the spotlight. And this, for me, Last Mercenary was no different. I was very interested to see how it would be portrayed. I think Van Damme had mentioned, he's like, it's going to be both in French and English. But I didn't pay any attention to that. I just watched it in French, and I know that there was a little bit of English scattered throughout there, but I think that goes with any film nowadays, really. So I definitely enjoyed it. What was your guys' initial reactions with it, and just kind of in general when you finally sat down and watched it?
Well, overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was charming. It didn't take itself too seriously. I like the action in it. I was surprised. I figured the action choreography wouldn't be that great, but I thought it was done really well. You know, plenty of splits. It definitely didn't. It seemed like a part that was written for Jean-Claude Van Damme, as opposed to just a role that he filled for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It was definitely, hey, we have JCVD in mind, and it seems like the guy who wrote, I don't know if he was the same director too, but like the creative genius behind it definitely was a JCVD fan. So
Oh yeah,
you could definitely tell with that and everything involved. I was also surprised too that it was an hour and 52 minutes. I mean, we're closing in on a 2-hour film, and it didn't really feel 2 hours. I'll be completely honest. In my opinion, I don't know what you guys have to say, but Dave, what about you? What was your initial reaction to it all? And then once you finally watched it?
I watched the trailer. I think you were the person to hit me to the trailer, and I will sometimes avoid trailers just because I don't know. I like to be surprised, I guess.
Yeah,
is why.
absolutely.
But I did watch it, and I was like, oh wow, my first. And it really does. It lives up to the trailer. It's not one of those movies that the trailer has every good thing and or is somehow misrepresentative of the movie. The trailer was fun, you know, and so is the movie. And this is the first Van Damme movie with a sense of joy about it. Because of course we had Jean-Claude Van Johnson, and it feels a little like that.
I agree.
Yeah, it's probably closest to that of the things that he has done, but it also has some, you know, like kind of, it's got its own story. And like you mentioned, it was written for him, and you can feel that and the love that the director has, and many, many homages. Yeah, it really worked for me. I was just like, and I didn't seek out much else about that. I saw the trailer, like, this is great. And I watched it the day it dropped on Netflix. And I tried to watch the English version, but I could tell early on, I was like, oh, this is weird and dubbed. I watched only far enough to see that Van Damme did both, which I was really pleased. Like he did I think both the English and the French are Van Damme's voice, which doesn't sound like much, but like he didn't even do that for the Kickboxer looping, like one of the Retaliation or Vengeance recent ones. So yeah, you could tell he cared. And you know, all the ADRs, him, like all the like
yes.
And that's a big part of it for me. You know, I got
Me
the chance to talk about Universal Soldier Regeneration, one of those, like there's a Dolph Lundgren podcast that
oh yes, yeah.
Yep. And that was one of my big beefs. I was like, it's not even him doing the noises. I'm like, I'm here for the noises.
Yeah.
So, but I was here for all of it. I really liked the movie. It was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you mentioned the noises and stuff, and immediately all I thought about was like Van Damme's new catchphrase of you know, that he does. And like, sure enough, he's on TikTok now, because everyone's on TikTok. He's like, join me on TikTok. Yeah. That's all I could think about, you know, his noises. That's just as much. Yeah, it's just as much of a trademark as everything else, like his splits, you know, it's him.
It really is.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the film. I need to do this because it wouldn't be me and it wouldn't be the JPVD if I didn't read the plot summary from IMDb. So
yes,
let's do this before we actually get into some of our favorite parts of the film. So The Last Mercenary, a 2021 movie from Netflix, where a mysterious former Secret Service agent must urgently return to France when his estranged son is falsely accused of arms and drug trafficking by the government, following a blunder by an overzealous bureaucrat and a mafia operation.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that
pretty
kind of hits it up,
in my opinion. Yeah,
pretty much going. I mean, the thing is, if anything, for me, just watching it, was trying to understand, you know, was there a mafia connection in this? I don't know. It was the Tony Montana, a kid that, you know, they called him the son of the king of, oh my gosh, what I think it was a made up country. that they like Targistan or something like that they called it.
Oh, I'd have to look again.
And yeah, he was very much believed that Scarface was a true story.
Yes. Tony Montana wrote the script.
Yes, Tony Montana. It was all Tony Montana. Yep. Yeah. And he basically gets in France from someone on the inside copying Archibald Van Damme's son's passport, like his information, basically, because his son got immunity after a deal with Van Damme and his wife, well, not his wife, his lover, Farah, who she was basically the one. Van Damme's a secret agent, and I really, maybe you guys could remember or recall better than I can, but there was a situation where she was basically pissed at him and was like, hey, I'm leaving, but like, you guys are going to do this for my son as long as he doesn't come into his life or something like that. Does that sound right?
Operation Cup and Balls 1995.
Yes. Oh man. Yes. Yeah. And
that sounds like a joke, but that's a real thing, of course, in the movie.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think part of the funny thing is some of the one-liners and stuff, and Van Damme's his philosophic sayings, like through every region. He was like, this is from Armenia, and you know, he talks like the one about the goats. He's like, all goats have beards, but they're not all prophets. You know, I was just dying at some of these funny one-liners that he was saying. I think with all of that going in, and Van Damme immediately like doing the splits in the beginning while he's saving some guy's Ukrainian big guy's son from a hostage situation, and the kids, they pull that, like he's blind in a, you know, a sack, a potato sack or whatever over his head, and he runs and he knocks himself out, and Van Damme throws him out a window. And it's just, you know, you're like, what the heck's going on here? You know, that he's got his beard, and all of a sudden they're like, the goose is out of the oven.
Yes.
You know, like that was going through the whole thing. And even through the credits, they are doing it like these Orthodox priests are walking, and he gets like the phone call and it says the goose is out of the oven, you know? So I thought that was kind of funny, kind of cute throughout the whole thing. But, you know, you get your, hey, let's save the hostage situation movie. Let's do it for the people of France, you know, looking out, secret agents looking out for the country on behalf of the country's interests. You also get that fun little comedy chase throughout the whole movie. You know, it's nothing new in that sense, but yet it's just great to see a fun little movie like this. I think I know we've always said it. It's always nice to see Van Damme branch out on these sort of things.
Absolutely.
And for him to do something like this, to take on the more comedic roles, I think is great. It's fun, and he can poke fun at himself, but also be serious with it, and still be able to kick ass in this film. Like Jeff, you said, the choreography, the fight choreography of the film was really great. I love, they kept calling him the Mist, his character. I think Richard Brumier, I want to say. I'm gonna definitely butcher some of these names. Yeah, so
in case you guys can't tell, we're not francophones. Not fluent francophones.
No, I eat freedom fries. Yeah, but definitely some of the fight scenes were great and memorable. I love that Van Damme had, like, you had the past and then you had the present, and some of the people in the past, like Marguerite, trying to help him out still, you know, even though they basically are all retired. Van Damme off doing his own thing, and some of like the old general or whatever that absolutely loves him, but the other guy hates him, and we find out the reason why the other guy hates him, because Van Damme banged his wife. And he was like,
that was like this big running gag throughout the whole movie.
He was talking, he was like, I'll show you who has micro dick. You know? I just thought, oh, it was so funny, the whole thing. You're like, why does this guy hate him? And then it finally comes out, you know, and the general loves him. He was like, he and your wife were portraying a couple. They had to make sure everything was fine, and he had to consummate it. I don't see what the problem is. You know, just absolutely hilarious. But I want to ask you guys, what were some of the things that stood out in your mind while you were watching it? Some of the funny stuff, or maybe even things that you're just kind of like, oh, I didn't really get that, but whatever. Was there anything that really sticks out for you?
Well, I think Dave really hit the nail on the head when he said the overall lighter tone of the film, because like a lot of later JCVD stuff is very dark and literally dark, in
Yeah.
cinematography, and dark in tone.
Yeah.
Takes place in a prison in Eastern Europe, or
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
or 5 other films with very similar premise. I thought it was this was like a nice treat, like a return to, an older formula where he was it was almost like a buddy caper type movie, because he
Yes.
formed a team. I liked all the side characters. I thought, they're all charming. They can hold their own scene if they need to. They don't need Jean-Claude to be in every scene for the film, so it didn't get boring when he wasn't on camera.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you really hit the nail on the head when you said it didn't seem like it was nearly 2 hours. There's never any time where I was just wanting to skip ahead or anything like that. Really, I don't really have any complaints about the film. I thought the comedic dialogue was really good. I'm not sure if these are bigger names in the French-speaking world, but they all seemed like funny, seasoned, a good a group of people put together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think that the cast was a good choice. I did like the diversity of everything too. That it was, hey, the reason why Archibald lived in the nicest projects, they made that joke. They're like, you still live in the projects. He's like, yeah, but they're the nicest ones, and because of basically his adoptive father, who is Van Damme's friend in the agency. And him basically looking out and cleaning up all the drug dealers, basically destroying these dudes. This old dude just kicking ass, and I thought that was a cute kind of ad lib with it, and everything kind of went together. I thought everyone did a great job with their roles. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I echo all of that. Yeah, I'm not sure if I could point to any one thing in particular or any favorite scene necessarily, but I loved all of the different looks. I counted them as I was taking notes, moving through it. So I don't know if I could call them out as we move through the plot or something, but I'll give you a total maybe to work towards.
Yes, yeah.
I got nine of them, 9.5 maybe.
That's glorious.
With one in particular, but it was fun to see him dress up like that. I think he really likes that sort of thing. He's always and there's some movie he went to the Cannes Film Festival a couple of years ago, and he got rented like these big banners, like huge building size banners of the different looks, like the old man, him trying to look young, kind of looking like he's on the Lionheart poster with his black tank top, and then maybe a rough looking brother. It almost looked like some sort of Double Impact sequel, but it's not really named.
I'm trying to remember. His website, the Rodan Entertainment or whatever, they still have that up. They have the 3 movies up. They have Frenchie, which is the one that we always talk about. There's looks like it's just starring all his kids. It might be like a Western or something of that.
Three Coyotes or something.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I think that's the name of it. And then that third one with him, like he's playing 3 different roles. And I think that was part of, him trying to make that big comeback. I know he announced a couple of years ago, he wanted to make like Lionheart 2 and, a Triple Impact and all that. And, things were looking up, but I don't know if people were interested or people dropped out or whatnot. But yeah, I just saw that the Cannes Film Festival, all those banners, like he spent a good amount of his own money on these things, his own projects. And I'm still waiting for the day that we get distribution on Frenchie.
Yeah, I think we're closer than ever. I really thought a year ago when I was talking to you guys that the Netflix announcement was going to be that they picked up Frenchie,
Yeah, you would have thought.
Yeah, because it was done like for years. Like he was like, oh, I'm recutting it and all this, that, or the other. But then there was that Instagram thing where he's like, it's done, it's finished. I've done all the ADR. We're just trying to find the right partners. And if you go to rodin-ent.com, that's his production company, and it's right there, like to inquire distribution zone. They're I guess it's all ready to go. But
well, hopefully, like you said, it'll bring us one step closer. I think this movie is doing really well in the French speaking world. I'm assuming that #1 for like 5 days in a row is in France, or at least in the French-speaking area of where they record what movies are being watched on Netflix. But apparently, it's doing really well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's definitely in the top. He's been in the top in France, I know, and supposedly the world. But I don't know if that's one thing that just Netflix tells him or what. I was curious to know. I'm sure that this movie does well everywhere. What's that?
Could be by language as well too. They could be looking at the French speaking. Who knows?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's funny that you mentioned that because, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. There's this documentary out there for an African country that was inspired by the Van Damme kickboxing dance scene.
What?
Yes.
Oh
and so
God.
like Van Damme's dance basically sprouted this new dance style in this African country.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they do it. It's I was watching the trailer on it and I was like blown away. I'm like, I gotta watch this. And I'm so off the top of my head, I can't remember any of it. But like I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, how many other people can say like, hey, I influenced a new dance style
from a dance I did 30 years ago.
Yes. Yeah, and it's basically kind of like it's almost like capoeira in a way, like this dance, like kind of fight dance. Yeah, it was very interesting, very cool. And
we should learn it.
Yeah, I know, right? I just get into it. And...
Dancing? I'm good. Why? You really?
So yeah, I know. Sorry, I keep going off on these tangents and whatnot.
Oh, they're all great.
Things pop up, right? So we remember. But yeah, I'm definitely hoping for Last Mercenary that it does do well. We also had some great tropes in there too. I mentioned the splits. He did a different style. He did a front style splits.
Yep.
In the bathroom fight scene too. So from my count, we got 2 splits. Does that sound right to you guys?
There were definitely 2. I'm not sure if there was more than 2.
Yeah, you got the one in the beginning, and then you got the one that we just mentioned. I think those are the only 2.
Yeah.
Do you think those are stunt splits? Because there was a lot of shots where he.
I think they're stunt splits now, man. I do. I'm sure he can still do the splits, but I'm almost positive these are stunt splits now.
Well, they asked him in that same men's fitness thing if he can still do it. I think it was the next clip that, when we paused it, and he said something like he can still do it, but he has to train for like a couple of weeks and really warm up.
Yeah,
I can believe it.
I can imagine. Yeah, right.
It does look difficult.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, what he's 60 now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did just turn 60, didn't he?
Yeah. Happy birthday, JC. We love you.
Yeah.
We also got a nut punch. I thought that was great as well. I was like, oh man, that might be like, I know everyone puts the Bloodsport nut punch, the gooch punch on a scale, but like that one looked like it really hurt.
Yes.
The way that they filmed it, I was like, oh man, that hurt me just watching it.
It was a
like
controlled nut punch.
Oh man.
And they confirmed in some behind the scenes stuff that they've been rolling out, like interview with the director and Van Damme next to each other, like in his Instagram and all this, that was a direct homage to the Bloodsport.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. Speaking of, I mean, plain as day right there, he walks into the game room and there's a Bloodsport poster on the wall and he's like, nice. I definitely, I know we even got police chase. We hit Van Damme tropes in this film. No matter what, like you could tell that the people that were behind this loved Van Damme because we got all the tropes.
There were headbutts too.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yes. Man. And I was like, did we get a titular line? I know they said mercenary, but I don't know if they said the last mercenary. So maybe that's not the only, that's like the only trope we didn't get.
Yeah, can't have it all after all.
Yeah, I know, man. I mean, we got what we got. I do have to say during that arcade fight at the towards the end of it.
Yes.
That was great. The pinball machines when he does like the back body drop on the dude. I just felt for Palmer. I was like, oh man, they definitely smashed a pinball machine there. There's one less pinball machine in the world. Who's going to have to repair that?
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Palmer from Long Walk Short Drink, my podcasting partner.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't talked about this movie yet, but and I'm not sure if he's seen it. He's not the same sort of level of Van Damme fan at all. But
that's what I love. I love when you can convince him to watch something. You know, you guys talk about
Cyborg. That was the one for some reason.
Yep. Once again, the Van Damme dressing and all the different stuff too. The scene where his son portrays the guy who's basically stole his identity, and he's always with women. So Van Damme snuggling as a woman next to his son Archie, you know, and he's like, we got to get closer. And he's like, why? You know, he's like, I hate you. And you know, you abandoned me. There's all these issues here and conflict, but like they're getting closer, and Van Damme can mimic voices, and they're like the Terminator. Oh, I thought that was great too. So Van Damme's mimicking the dude's voice, and his son's, you know, doing the hand movements while he's watching the movie, and he's like, I don't want to get up to face you. I'm angry. I had to watch this movie to calm down. And they're trying the whole time during all of this, we're wondering what the hell is all this about? And come to find out that this guy within the French government wants to sell the Big Mac, which is basically this electronic device. It just kills all electronic devices around it. And obviously in the wrong hands, you know, this could be detrimental to whoever. And they're trying to stop that as well, along with, you know, getting back immunity for his son. And that's basically the ongoing thing throughout all of this. This is what we found out killed the adoptive father of Archie, because he had a pacemaker. They hit it and stopped his pacemaker. He's dead. I'm trying to think what other scenes that they used it in. Towards the end, you know, they used it. I really like that too, where the French government, everyone's like, oh, hey, you know, JC, we got to bring this back to the government. And he hits it, it knocks out all the lights in the building, and he just escapes. He goes off as the mist and walks away, and that's the end. But definitely some fun stuff throughout the movie dealing with that as well. I love the constant jokes with the Big Mac. You know, they called the device the Big Mac. They used the Big Mac carton when they had the phone in it. They threw it in the trash for the dude. He was the comedy of the whole thing. Even though everyone was comedic, like this guy was over the top. You know, his character. He worked in the French government, and I'm trying to think, do you guys recall his name? Was it Lazare? Was that his name?
Let me look real quick.
Yeah, I got up here too. Yeah,
I know. I'm gonna
right.
butcher
Paul
it.
Lazare, I think. Or no, that Paul Lazare is the guy that always called him boss.
Yes. Paul was the guy behind it, right? And then, gosh, man. Anyway, the comedic guy.
Maybe that's it.
Lazare.
Yeah.
Lazare. That sounds right. And
Alexandra.
Yeah, Alexandre Lazare.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't have a picture on IMDb. It's so annoying. He seems like he would be really well known, at least in France.
I assumed he was a French comedian or something.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's doing all this, and that's what originally starts it. Was he finds this basically person who's getting all these employment benefits, but he's like, it's a forgery, and he tells Paul, who's underneath him, even though Paul's the one that got him the job. You know, a little crazy mess there. And he's like, just ignore it. Don't worry about it. And he can't stop focusing on it. So he basically does it. And that's what starts the chain reaction. He kicks off Archibald from getting any sort of benefits. And so everything opens back up, and it's all chaos. And so now people are trying to kill Archie. And you know, we go out throughout all this. That character is just so funny. He's basically going to be made to be used as the scapegoat for it all. And Van Damme kind of convinces him of the things. We find out that his grandfather hunted Nazis, but his dad was the scapegoat in something that they used. And so he wanted to be more like his papa than, you know, a situation as his dad, and go from there. So he kind of changed his tune. But I even love some of the funny, ridiculous stuff involved with him. When he opens up the Big Mac container and there's lettuce stuck to the phone, and he's like talking, and the lettuce is waving in his face. And Van Damme tells him there's C4 in the bike helmet and to take off all his clothes because he thinks he's wired. Yeah. So he's on a scooter in his underwear, and it has like the French flag as the band, the Lasta band. Oh, I thought that was so funny. That was great. And he's into pole dancing, but he's too afraid to tell people because they'll make fun of him. But that actually helps him in one of the end scenes. Like he does some crazy flip and lands, and he's like, if I wasn't so pushed, I would have landed that perfectly. But, Van Damme gives him advice on it. He judges it and thought it was great. I thought that was awesome too. But yeah, definitely throughout all of it's kind of funny. Trying to see, is the government going to go after Van Damme? Who else is in here? What's the whole reason for all of this? And, we find out that a guy basically wants 30 million for the Big Mac device, and this Paul guy. And come to find out, I'll be completely honest, this caught me off. I didn't recognize that this was going to happen. Marguerite, who was working with Van Damme this whole time, she's actually the one behind it. She's the double crosser. And
I didn't see it either.
Paul is her son, and she's like, you had this son, and everyone was like, oh, so caring. And she's like, I have this loser as a son. And he's like, Mom, right here, and, she's like, being pretty much a single mom having to raise a kid. Do you think anyone in the agency cared about us? No, blah, blah, blah. But they end up getting caught, and we have a good happy ending with it. I also enjoyed the conflicts between Archie and his dad, Van Damme. I could honestly understand all of that. You can't tell your kid any of this stuff that happens, so you're the bad guy. But he tells him, he's like, I've always been there at your important moments, just to let you know. And it does the flashback, like at the funeral. His mom had cancer, and her coffin's being lowered, and Van Damme's standing next to him, and he does the necklace twirl, and then hands it to his son Archie, and he's like, oh my gosh, it was the realization, that, hey, my dad actually has been there all my life. He just couldn't, tell me. And one of the great things too, kind of cute little end scene. I didn't mention one of Archie's friends, his sister, who she plays a great supporting role too. They basically have some sort of love connection because of this last scene after credits. She's in the hospital, and she's going to be a father, and she delivers the baby, and then Van Damme comes up out of nowhere, pulls his face mask down. He's like, Dad, what are you doing here? And he's like, I told you I would always be there for your important memories in life. And then it basically ends, and we get a cute little thing from I think the director or the writer talking about having his own Last Mercenary, his son, and the birth date in this year. And I was like, oh, that's cute. But fun overall. Like I said, great cast, great mix of things, young and old. And these people, I was surprised when I looked at the IMDb page that a lot of these people didn't have like photos. I'm like, man, what's going on? But hopefully after this they will. So
hell yeah,
definitely enjoyed it. Was there anything else that I might not have mentioned that has come up in your head while we were all kind of discussing this that you wanted to make mention before we get into our rating scale, the split scale of things?
Well, you already mentioned the part about during the credits with the delivery. That part I thought was hilarious. Like, oh, I told you I'd always be there,
Yeah.
About that, no, I can't really think of anything else.
Yeah, Dave, what about you?
I could take you through the looks real quick. I
yeah.
just made note of them.
Yes.
So look number one, Sad Damme with beard and beanie.
Oh, I love that.
Right there at the beginning. And then when they talk about that Operation Cup and Ball 1995, you got look two. He's got long hair and a tank top.
Yes, the Rambo look.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and then look number three, he's dancing with short hair, no beard, and a blazer, which on Sideburns, and I was like, this turned out to be his main look. as just like, you know, his kind of walking around as Premiere. But yeah, man, those sideburns look kind of pasted on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did not necessarily look natural. Let's see. Look number 4. He was a waiter with gray hair and a mustache and mutton chops.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I forgot about that one. That was great.
Yeah. Look number 5. He was like a kind of like a SWAT leader, I guess, or a cop with a cop mustache. I called it.
Yes.
Yankee hat.
That was a
and-
nice mustache.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's see what else. Look number 6, matching red hat and an apron for the ice cream vendor.
Oh yes. Oh, when he was on the bike with the dude Lazare, like in the ice cream thing. He's like, "You're getting in there."
I have 6.5 when the sketch artist basically drew Homer Simpson.
Yes. Oh, that was so funny. He's trying Lazare, so they beat up Lazare, and then like Van Damme gave him some medicine, so he basically can't talk. And so they're talking and they're going through it, and they're like, "What do you look like?" He's like, and then he's like, and like the eyes are big, and it's Homer Simpson. And the guy makes a comment, and then the dude that knows Van Damme comes in that hates him, and he's like, "That's him." It's like, I
King
know
of
that son of a
camouflage.
bitch anywhere. The king of camouflage. Yep.
Then look number 7, he got the shaggy blonde swim instructor.
Yes.
And that's when he
Yes.
has that fight with those two. I guess it was the bodyguard of
Yes.
the gangster, the worship Tony Montana, had these like ladies in like gold bathing suits who were actual I can't remember, like Eastern European fighters or stunt people. And there's a video online, maybe on his Instagram, where they do shot by
Really?
shot. Yeah, him
Oh,
and
no way.
the director, where they talk through that fight scene. And
That's awesome.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And that's where I learned about how when they hit the guy in the groin, that it was like a homage to the scene in Bloodsport. But yeah, he's talking about those women and how tough they were. And it's funny too, because like he will talk about there's been a lot of he's done a lot of press for this, which has been really cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's real spirited about it and playful, doing all his weird shit, like always ending everything with everything.
Yes.
It's like that, like he'll do some weird thing and then just like jump out of frame.
Yes.
So silly. A lot of that great stuff on his Netflix, or sorry, on his Instagram. I was just looking at it. They all say Netflix. It's all very branded. He's in this one thing where he's in basically like a one-piece track outfit. Like it's not a top and pants, it's combined.
Like a track
uniform.
jumpsuit.
Kinda, yeah. But like designer. I don't know. It's funny. And he's standing like with the director, and he's always bringing his dog, his little dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And being cute about like, can you get some makeup for my dog? and
Yes,
all
I
that.
saw that too. Yes. Oh, I thought that was funny.
But yeah, so I've watched a lot of those, and he was talking to, so a lot of times he'll sit next to the director, talking about what they're trying for and all this. And he was saying like, he doesn't like to do all this stuff, all this kind of silly stuff with like using the towel as a weapon and all this as a weapon. And he's like, I like to do like one punch and down kind of thing. And, so it was interesting talking through that scene where they're trying to really play up all the stuff that he can use in the environment to aid him in the fight and to keep it interesting. But yeah, so they got the shaggy blonde swim instructor. Let's see. And then let's look 7. Look 8. You got long hair. Oh, that's when he's like the brunette.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was great. And then
Love
look
the top with it.
Yeah. Oh, he looked good. He looked real good. And then look number 9, the post credit when he's the obstetrician.
Oh yes.
Oh, man. I like to I don't know if I called when he had the cop mustache and the Yankee hat, but I liked that scene where he was in the car with Archie for the first time.
Yes.
And like that I usually don't love car chases. For some reason I tend to tune out, but that really kept my attention with the comedy. And I love those two, like the guys, the other mercenaries that were pursuing him. Like the one guy especially had these like great teeth, the one he punched in the nuts.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. Every time they thought they're like, we killed the mist,
Yeah.
and they're like
Right.
celebrating. Oh, that was so funny. It's funny you mentioned I there was another scene that really caught my attention, and I think the only reason why is because of the Detroit side of things. I loved the car scene with that. But after they catch Archie, and one of the reasons before he gets released, and Van Damme's the one who picks him up. There's two detectives, and they're kind of playing like good cop, bad cop. But one of them, he's wearing a Detroit Tigers shirt, and he's got on a Hawaiian shirt. And I thought that was an homage to Tom Selleck
Yeah.
as Magnum PI.
Magnum PI,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, dude, immediately, I know that there's this kind of weird sisterly connection between Detroit and Paris. So I really like that from our aspect of things, seeing that, and was like, oh, was that kind of a nod to Tom Selleck? I kind of felt it was, but definitely wanted to make mention about that as well. I thought, oh, cool. Nice little, not just only Van Damme things in here, but nice little nods to other things throughout it, 80s stuff mostly. And, the War Games poster, and like someone had mentioned all the pinball machines. They're like, one of them was Terminator, one of them was Nightmare on Elm Street. They were all like action movie based pretty much. I'm trying to remember what the other ones were, but yeah, I really like that. The fine attention to detail with just the background stuff. I thought that was great as well.
Yeah, I really paid close attention to those posters. I made note of course, they set it up, in that going into that game and stuff with the blood sport. But there's also Big Trouble in Little China, of course,
Yes.
Scarface. Yeah.
Yes.
Scarface, Karate Kid. I saw for Rocky Balboa, Jaws. There's a Bond poster, Terminator, Escape from New York. Yeah, that was really fun. To
Jeez.
see
Oh,
all that
yeah.
stuff.
That's a good lineup.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course, it's a lot of big Netflix stuff, like enormous Stranger Things sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I don't think that guy would have had, but
Really love Stranger Things as well.
yeah.
Yeah. So I guess now comes to our split scales. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give The Last Mercenary?
All right, who's going first? Okay, I'll go first. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I loved the tone of the film. Like we talked about earlier, a lot of later JCVD films. I think that if you were, say, a fan of, if you had seen Kickboxer and Bloodsport and whatnot when you were a lot younger, and you're like, oh, I'll check out, this newer JCVD movie. I think this would be a good choice for that, to get back into a newer JCVD's filmography, because tone-wise, it's a lot more lighthearted. It has comedic elements. It's something that'd be a better transition than to say one of his movies where he's a mercenary in Eastern Europe, and it's just really bleak from start to finish with nonstop action and car chases. Where this one, it breaks it up pretty well with a decent story, some good acting, charming slapstick comedy, like the part where you're just talking about where his son's being interrogated. He ends up hyperventilating and passing out, and they both like look at each other. They're like, "Wow, he's good," There's like little touches like that. I thought made it a very charming film.
Yeah,
definitely worth a watch. I think JCVD enjoyed himself during the filming too. It didn't just seem like a paycheck, in my opinion. So yeah, I'd give it a good 8 out of 10 splits. I would say it's a definite must-watch for any JCVD fan.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I could absolutely agree with you on that. I think for me that's kind of where I was at around it too. Like it definitely is one of those that I probably will watch it again. I did enjoy it that much. I don't know, Jeff, I've been telling you a little last night. I text you that normally everyone who listens to this knows that I like to watch stuff at double the speed. Or it originally was because I had so much to review that I never had the opportunity, time was of the essence. So I just watched it out of necessity. And I kind of kept that with some things, and I'm still, some things I do, but I'm like going back down into watching things at a regular pace again. So yeah, definitely was watching this at a regular pace, which was nice. Yeah, but definitely enjoyed it. And yeah, I agree. 8 out of 10's pretty solid.
I think I might have to go 7. I am horrendous at rating things, so I'm kind of
No
basing it
worries, man.
on
I mean,
you
you're the
guys.
one who is like, you're the actual like movie buff on these things, right? So you have more of that experience.
I suppose, but I mean, I also just really do appreciate a good, like, I just want to enjoy it. I can pick things apart and really lose myself in that, and that can be fun. And I think maybe I did more of that as a young person than I do now. I have this good friend of mine who actually works like in lighting, like he like on Chopped and stuff, like real like
nice.
shows you've seen and heard of. He's like part of the grip team, and we were doing something together, filming something actually right down in this corner where I am, and setting up lights. And I do this for a living too, but not like that. Like I basically just produce and do all the jobs for college. And so anyway, so I'm used to like one-man band type stuff, and he's used to working in this really formal crew structure, and I'm setting up these lights and kind of I don't know, extending them all the way and stuff, just kind of doing the thing till it clicks and all this. And he's doing another light, and I kind of want to go and adjust it. And I was like, oh wait, no, I know, like you actually do this like really properly. I should probably just accept that what you think is good. And he's like, yeah. I was like, so I asked him, but I bring that up because I asked him, it's like, when you watch stuff like on TV and all that, do you really notice the lighting on say cooking shows or something like that? He's like, no, I never really notice it unless something is wrong. And
oh, that's funny.
That made a lot of sense to me. And I think for me too, I will notice if something's maybe not working, but I don't really care too much as long as I enjoy it. And for this movie, I don't want to go like as high as an 8 or 9 because that puts it too close to like his best movies of all time. But I would say the only thing to really like take me out of it a moment would be something too I really easily forget, which is like when it kind of disrupts that tonal balance that they set, because it's like it is a delicate one, but it's also pretty big. It's like it's literally like a French farce. Like it's really broad. I had to look that up to make sure I was using that correctly. But if you think about where like towards the end where he's in the tux and all this, and they do that thing where they're kind of running back and forth between this lockdown shot of like a doorway or hallway, and it's like curtains. Before Van Damme ducks behind the thing, he does this like really big exaggerated, like puts a bunch of food into his face, or maybe Archie does that, and it's like, whoa, and then they're like, it's like Scooby-Doo, they're going back and forth.
Yep.
It got really silly stuff like that. But there's the one scene where like Van Damme just goes like from 0 to 60 on Archie, and just like crying snot out of his face about like really laying into him about how he's a disappointment and he can't drive, and he's my biggest scar and all that.
Yeah.
He's like, I had a bird that died of sadness, and so he goes all the way there, which I think is maybe a little bit of a misstep for the director, but also I can imagine, you can just know that Van Damme wanted to do that. So I forgive him that. But I thought it really worked, and so maybe I'll go 7.5. I talked myself into it.
Yeah, I think it might have talked me to changing I might change mine to 7.5 now.
Yeah, you convinced me.
Oh, see, I hate that idea. That's why I never like reviews or like read reviews, is because somebody points out something, I'm like, oh shit, that's true. And now as I suddenly enjoy it a little less. And so anyway, I thought this was so much fun, and I'd love to see him work with this director more. Just absolutely further this relationship with Netflix. Maybe they release Frenchie, who knows, or a sequel. I felt they were teeing it up for a sequel a little bit with that Goose is out of the
right.
I hope so. I really hope so.
It did seem like that it was a good one of those where it's not an outright like, hey, we're gonna have a sequel. It's one of those where it kind of leaves you like, hey, if this does well, there's a possibility of a sequel, but if it doesn't, it's its own thing, like even Van Johnson was kind of like that a little. I think that one was more along the lines of, yeah, there's going to be a sequel, but if there's not, that's totally fine. Like the sequel plays in your head, or, maybe I can go to Amazon and option off creating a comic book sequel for Van Johnson. Let's see. That'd be kind of cool. Hey, we create this podcast. I'm sort of an expert myself in Van Damme. But yeah, I'm excited to see what more we have with this Netflix Van Damme partnership. I'm sure they're happy. It seems like they are anyway. I know it definitely hasn't been as divided as Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe Revelation, which
Still haven't finished that.
You haven't?
Uh-uh.
Oh man,
I watched the first 2 episodes.
We Tony and I did a review on Kapowcast of it. That's when Dave, when you mentioned too, not that's totally different. We could spend another hour on that. Like when the trailer misrepresents something, like that one, I felt that was definitely a misrepresentation, which they knew what they were getting into. But yeah, check out our review on Kapowcast with that. So
where do we find that? I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the show or your Kapowcast, but I would check it out.
That's definitely on YouTube as well. Like I said, Tony, Mike, and Jeff, that's kind of their baby. And Tony and I did the Revelation review. We talked about that situation with it, but overall, how much I think we both enjoyed it for what it was. Very interesting. We talk about the comic book kind of aspect of it as well. So get a little bit over there. You can find it on that or basically any other podcatcher platform like Spotify and iTunes and Google Podcasts. I know that they have it on there too. So yeah, for those that want to hear or interested in that side of thing, or want to see more of us in that realm, check out Kapowcast. Still doing stuff with the Actual Wrestling Fan as well, but not nearly as much because just time and not being into the WWE scene. So that's what I've been doing lately besides work on that stuff. So Dave, how about yourself? Where can people find you and what you're up to?
Yeah, I think the closest to this sort of vibe would be the Long Walk Short Drink podcast that I do with my buddy Palmer, and you can find that on wherever you listen to podcasts, on the iTunes and YouTube and iTunes. Is it still Apple Podcasts? Whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not iTunes anymore. You're absolutely
what?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so out of it now.
But yeah, and also well, if you go to lwsdpod.com, that is take you basically to my website and the sort of dedicated podcast version thereof, and there's a link to the Dolph Lundgren podcast that I guested on, talking about a Van Damme movie. And yeah, I wrote about the quest for the upcoming Bloodspurt book. Maybe you can check that out as well. And I'm always staying busy with many things. So lwsdpod.com or even just davidallman.net. That's ULLMAN, davidallman.net.
Ooh, I like that. I like that
too.
radio drop. Jeff, what about you, man?
You already mentioned everything that I'm involved in. This and Kapowcast.
Yeah. You recently did a review for Black Widow with Mike and Tony.
Pretty crazy what's been going on with that. ScarJo having a legal dispute with Disney. Yeah.
We talked about all of that off air, like off record, and all about that and the situation.
Off the record.
Yeah. I don't ever want to make people think like I'm giving legal advice or something when I can't. And it's not, and we don't know the situation, but I thought that part of it was interesting too.
Yeah.
And I was talking about what both sides would likely argue and how more than likely it's going to get settled. It's
going to be a big precedent too, I'm assuming, because because Warner Brothers is doing the same thing with their films.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm sure other studios are likely to follow suit, especially smaller ones.
Yeah, it is funny how all those situations happen and what they do. And I had learned a long time ago, side tangent, about hers is a little bit, her contract's written up differently, but I know how you've always had a clause in some of these, like, hey, I get any royalties or any a percentage of what the film makes. And there's always surprisingly a loophole or something where the film doesn't make any money, so that they don't have to pay actors this percentage. So, it's funny how after tax and stuff is all said and done, like Titanic, even though, like that movie made a crap ton of money, they show that it's like, oh, we only really made $5,000. So Leo only gets like $10 from the rest of what Titanic made, you know.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was very interested with this and how everything was gonna fill out. But yeah, more than likely, because it's the US, things will get settled and we'll never find out what she ultimately gets from Disney.
Mm-hmm.
But it will be interested if it does go to court, how the following precedent this sets for other actors and whatnot, and these contractual agreements.
Well, if it doesn't through here, it'll end up happening through someone else then.
Yeah,
because,
right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
theaters
exactly.
are very unhappy about it. You know, the stars themselves are largely unhappy about
Mhm.
what Disney and Warner Brothers are currently doing. So, well, it'll come to a head.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, something's going to evolve. They've been talking about this even pre-COVID, you know, this whole
Mhm.
idea of the theater dying. So that's definitely something that I'm sure maybe one day we'll have a longer discussion on. But yeah, check everyone out on all the other projects that we've been doing. It's been nice not having to run a network anymore. So I definitely
I can imagine.
yeah, have had a lot of not a lot of spare time so much, but a lot of relaxation and not having to run a small business. So that's been nice.
Hell yeah.
But yes, thank you both so much once again coming on,
Oh,
talking Van Damme, one of the passions in our lives, the passion of Van Damme. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to talk again sooner rather than later about something other Van Damme. So thank you both.
oh, thank you. It's
Thank
been my
you, guys.
pleasure.
And thank you all for listening or watching or whatever. I mean, it's watching now, but that person that I spoke with, you know, they actually suggested, hey, why don't you just upload everything on Anchor? It's all free over there. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Thank you for the suggestion. So that might be something that I look into, where I'll switch and just have an audio version still going of all the old stuff. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Do I want to do that? Well, I don't know. I go back and forth about it. So it's still out there. You can find the rest of our stuff on YouTube. Thank you all so much. I'm John.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Dave.
You've been listening to another episode of the Jean Pod Van Dammecast. Thank you all so much. Yeah.
You know, he did that like in the commentary for like Replicant.
Yes, when you told me this is JPVD. Yeah.
For 5 minutes. He'd talk a little bit, basically tell you what you see on screen, and then he'd run out of stuff to say, and he'd be like, "Okay, I'll talk to you soon."
Yeah. Oh, I love it.